So welcome, I am Mother Sha-Riah, and I would like to talk to you about the Shamanic Movement. Some of you will already know what shamanism, or you will have an understanding, your own understanding of what shamanism is. So we are not going to discuss that too much. But we are going to discuss the Shamanic Movement, which is, if you like, a larger picture of shamanism in the world. We use the word movement because we are likening our idea or concept to other movements that have been introduced by humans. For example, the feminist movement, which was a movement that was changing the values, the culture, the ideas, the needs, the wants of entire nations through feminism. There are other movements that we have seen throughout human history. There have been revolutions, there have been financial movements where people are protesting or against certain ways that people are living, and so on and so forth. So the Shamanic movement is a movement in this way. We call it a conscious revolution. And in that, we do not use the word revolution in the same way that it has been used in the past. Revolution, for many people, is to go against something that is already in place. They don't like it, so they revolt, and so there is a revolution against that to change it. And conscious, because whilst revolutions are conscious, whilst movements are conscious, for example, the feminist movement was a conscious decision to move from one state of being to another. We are using the word more in the sense of consciousness. So yes, we are conscious of our consciousness having to change, having to move. And so it is a conscious revolution, the Shamanic movement. Now, what do we mean by the Shamanic movement? What are we really trying to understand and to relate to you? Unlike other revolutions and movements, the Shamanic movement that we are talking about is quiet and it's very personal. But it is designed to move the entire human group. So, how does it work? Many people are working on aspects of themselves to develop, to change, to grow, to expand. These people, as they are doing that, are opening up energies, are opening up and providing spaces for those around them also to experience expansion, growth, development, and so on. Perhaps in the same way that they are, if it's going to affect a family group, or in other ways people are able to see the openings that are going to affect them, but in different ways. In this way, the person is doing it personally. They're having a personal experience, a personal journey. But they are also opening up space, and they are creating a space and holding the space often for others also to experience movement and change, expansion and development. By doing this, they are helping the human group to rise, to move from one state of being to another state of being. They're not doing it by shouting and by protesting. They're not doing it by coercing groups of people or convincing groups of people to think this way. They are doing it for themselves, knowing consciously that they are making space to move other people. They are not coercing anybody, they're not trying to convince anybody, they're not trying to convert anybody. They are just going through their life consciously knowing that they are wanting to move and wanting to change, and in that space they are also providing a space for others to develop and change. So it is quiet and it is personal. What What this does, however, is that it provides a cushion, like an air pillow, if you can imagine that. And this air pillow has movement, right? It can move up and down. It can take the weight of something coming down, and it can help it, it can buoy it back up there like that. If you imagine that there are perhaps 1% of the human group consciously working in this shamanic movement way, this conscious revolution, 1% of the population are doing that. In many respects, their pillows will be joining, right? So that would be one huge pillow, air pillow, that the human group are on top of, like that. The people who are doing their personal conscious journey quietly are constantly adding energy, adding air, adding space to this cushion. It is buoying and bringing the human group, allowing movement up, right? It allows movement down, but it always pushes them up. It always brings them up. And in this way, it is bringing the whole group, the whole of the human group, up into a new state of being. So the shamanic movement is really an incredibly important conscious revolution. It is a really beautiful, quiet, gentle way to move people from one state of being to another state of being, without there having to be fighting, without there having to be aggression, sadness, fear, but just giving people the space, the buoy of energy to not only move them, but to keep them there and allow movement whilst they're there. So that's what we mean by the shamanic movement. We are very excited that we have met so many people who are consciously working on themselves, knowing that they are actually creating this energy pocket, if you like, around the globe, which is providing movement possibilities for other humans who are not necessarily as consciously changing, as consciously developing as these people. We are terribly excited about it, and we are really thankful that some humans have taken that upon themselves to do it. And they do it not wanting to have reward, not wanting to be better than other people and necessarily to make lots of money from it. They do it because they genuinely love the human group and can see the potential, the actualities, and the energy that they possess and what they're capable of, really capable of. And so these people are terribly important. We know that some of you watching this will be part of that group, and we thank you and we applaud you. And when things get difficult, when you feel that the change is too hard, that being conscious about the movement that you're making in your life is quite difficult, it is overwhelming, always come back to this. You are doing something that in human history is very rare. It's terribly important, but it is rare, and everybody will thank those people. They will never know who they are, but they will thank them. As we thank you now. Many blessings to you all. Thank you.